Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Wednesday morning to you all. I hope you guys are doing great out there this morning and having a wonderful start to your day and a great week out there so far. We got a lot to talk about in this morning's video, and we're going to continue to break down this winter storm that's going to move in over the next 24 hours across the southern tier of the country and last all the way through just about Saturday, pretty much the weekend. So there's a lot to discuss, and the first thing we'll talk about is the watches, warnings out there, because we have had a winter storm watches upgrade to winter storm warnings now, so we'll speak on that. And then we'll break down the south central U.S. first. We'll compare model guidance, but we'll spend a lot of time talking about what the National Weather Service is saying as far as snowfall totals and ice totals. We'll zoom into individual areas that should at least show a larger town or city close to your area. Of course, these graphics aren't going to show every single small town and community and things like that, but these graphics should help you guys get a good idea of how much your area is expected to receive as far as ice and snow. And then we'll do the same exact thing for the southeast. And as we move throughout this video, I will give you my takes on some things. Is my thoughts any different from others? I will speak on that. I'll speak on how cold the surface is. I'm speaking about like the ground temperatures, the road temperatures, things like that, and what that means as far as things accumulating as far as ice and snow. And we'll just make our way throughout this video, speak on some things, and we'll get you some very detailed information. And then I got you covered as far as what's happening weather-wise for your Wednesday. If you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it, and if anybody has anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put it in the comments below. We're praying for the situation out in California with the fires, pretty awful situation. So let's all definitely take some time today and pray over that situation, because that has gotten pretty bad pretty quickly. So with that being said, let's get rocking and rolling this morning. So what has changed? Well, we've had winter storm watches extended further east, but let's start west first. We do have winter storm watches that have been upgraded to winter storm warnings in this pink color right here. Some people might call that purple. I'll call it pink. So we do have these winter storm warnings now that have been upgraded from the watches. We continue to have just winter storm watches up for most of southeast Oklahoma. We have one county in extreme southeast Oklahoma that has been upgraded to that warning. Like I said, Dallas-Fort Worth area, winter storm warnings. Arkansas, good chunk of the state now has at least winter storm watches or warnings. Little Rock, you guys have a winter storm warning. I think by the time we get over the next, I would say 6 to 12 hours, maybe even less, Memphis will upgrade to a winter storm warning, no doubt. You guys are right in the heart of the heaviest snow. Same thing with Nashville. And, Shreveport still hanging on to winter storm watches. Same thing with on the northern end up into Fort Smith. The things that's changed is we've expanded the winter storm watches up into Kentucky, the entire state of Tennessee now, all of northern Alabama. So we even have winter storm watches in Birmingham, folks. Atlanta, just south of Atlanta. All of northern Georgia, Chattanooga. Even though you're seeing this shade right here, we have special weather statements in northeast Tennessee right now. We're getting a little bit of a surprise light snow event. This has actually been up here in Kentucky too. So these special weather statements mixed with the winter storm watches are for this light snow flying around this morning. It's so cold that even just this really light snow, it's really fluffy. It's accumulating on everything. So, I made a comment this morning. You guys are kind of double dipping because you're about to get a larger storm that's about to come in. It seems like that's the way it goes too. But, certainly a wintry time coming up for the entire state of Tennessee and even Kentucky. And winter storm watches expand, all the way up here into, say, like Richmond, Lexington. It looks like the winter storm watches stop just south of your county. But one thing that I'll expect to change by the time we do a video later tonight is I do think winter storm watches will expand across the I-85 corridor from Greenville, Spartanburg, all the way to Charlotte. This will include western North Carolina. How far south will it get? My guess here is that the winter storm watches will go all the way down to, say, Newberry. We'll probably cover up Lancaster, Chester. I think it'll kind of go into this area right into here. I don't know if they're going to issue a winter storm watch for Columbia. If they do, well, they do. So we'll see what happens. But this is the latest watches and warnings. We expect this to continue to expand eastward. How far north into Virginia will it get? It's a big question that we'll soon have the answer to. But As far as going over model guidance, I will kind of flip through. I'm going to move through this quicker, and then I'm going to show you some short-range model guidance. The latest GFS coming in this morning. We're starting this off for Thursday morning. This is January the 9th, so tomorrow morning now. And I'll kind of mention times of the days as we go, but we start to get to about midday. Wintry mix, all snow in the blue. The freezing rain is in the pink, and then the sleet is the orange. And we continue to progress this forward. Winter storm begins to develop in southern Oklahoma, northern Texas. It's just a wintry mix. Might be all snow at this point. In the Dallas-Fort Worth area, could be a wintry mix of sleet and freezing rain. Snow begins to overspread areas of Arkansas. Looks like southwestern sections of Arkansas, northeastern Texas, and then northwestern areas of Louisiana getting more so a wintry mix, and this continues, and it really has that freezing rain getting close to Little Rock. That's something to watch, but snow's beginning to move into northern Mississippi, western Tennessee. At this point, we got some light to moderate snow getting all the way up into southeast Kansas, southwest Missouri, like Springfield. Just switching to all snow at this point in like North Texas, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, as cold air crashes down into all this moisture. And then we wake up Friday morning and we have an all-out snowstorm ongoing from Dallas. I mean, maybe as far north as Tulsa, up to Fort Smith. How far north does the shield of precipitation get into this cold air? Still a little bit of a question. Little Rock, this is all snow. Memphis, heavy chunk of snow moving in. I mean, northern Mississippi, that's snowing like crazy tomorrow morning. Not tomorrow morning, I'm sorry, Friday morning. I keep forgetting it's Wednesday, but Friday morning. Heavy snowstorm midday Friday in Memphis. It's starting to lighten up in Little Rock, but still snowing. It's starting to pretty much move out of Oklahoma and Texas at this point. I mean, this brings a swath of moderate snow all the way up into St. Louis, snowing in the Boot Hill, Missouri, and western Kentucky getting a lot of snow. Do you start to mix with some rain in certain areas of northern Mississippi? You know, that's a big question. And then this heads on now. Now let's flip it all the way back, and I think we have the latest European model, and we do. So what's changed with this as we're moving forward? It looks a little colder, I think, but and not compared to the GFS, but compared to other runs. But we continue to get the Euro run going here, and it doesn't show as much mixing. For example, where it shows a lot of freezing rain and like the Texarkana area, the Arklatex area, it shows mainly rain, where freezing rain is being shown, say, on the GFS. This heavy chunk of snow moving from the Dallas-Fort Worth area all the way up into southeastern Oklahoma. We got light, moderate snow falling and very cold air, I might add. So even though, you know, you might not get as heavy snow up here in, say, Kansas, Missouri, everything will stick. I mean, there's still snow on the ground from your last winter storm. And then this really gets beefed up here. So it's snowing heavily from Dallas to Little Rock, now into Memphis. Heavy snows really begin to take over northern Mississippi, starting to sneak into western Tennessee. Snow begins to move into western Kentucky, snowing like crazy mid-Friday morning, into northern Mississippi. Arkansas, I think everyone will see snow except the far southern counties. You guys will mix a little bit, I think. But, you know, as we start to get into Friday afternoon, still snowing in eastern Arkansas. Snowstorm still ongoing in Tennessee, which we'll talk more on here in a second. And like I mentioned, by the time we start to get into, say, Saturday morning, many areas will be waking up to a winter wonderland. Now, you know, speaking on some short-range model guidance, and this isn't necessarily in the wheelhouse of the short-range, but it is starting to get there for the south-central U.S. But this is the HRRR model. You know, it wants to make this really all snow for North Texas. And on Tropical Tidbits, the pink is sleet. This color right here, this kind of dark pink, I'm sorry, the purple is sleet. The dark pink right here is like freezing rain, but it really just wants it all snow in the Dallas area. It wants a solid wintry mix, even brings heavy snow into Shreveport, so it's further south as far as the cold air. All snow in all snow in Arkansas. I will say it doesn't look like it brings as much precipitation north, so it looks to me like the HRRR model is just further south. But it wants to bring rain switching to snow as far south as central Texas. And then this is the final frame we got. It only goes 48 hours out, so it takes us to the middle of the night, Thursday night and Friday morning. And definitely have heavy snow starting to move into Mississippi and snow starting to move into Memphis. And this is the NAM. And I want to compare the NAM with the HRRR model. The NAM is much warmer. It's raining in Dallas tomorrow night. And finally switches it to snow at the last second. The NAM is much, much warmer. I mean, and it doesn't show much ice. It's just a kind of dividing line between snow and rain. So the concerning thing with me about this is the NAM can do good with thermals once it gets closer. And I would still say this is a little bit further out in the range that NAM is good at, but it is concerning to me that the NAM has a little bit of warm air far, far to the north. Not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but let's hope that the NAM is just kind of is overdoing the warm air. Okay, but it continues, and it's still all snow from like the Arklatex, Oklahoma, into Arkansas, into northern Mississippi, into western Tennessee. This is definitely all snow up into Missouri and Illinois, and then it continues, and it just looks like a lot more warm air involved in the south central U.S. So with that being said, if we're taking a broad look at things, and I'm just going to look at the National Weather Service forecast, we're in the range where I'm going to trust them over the models. Okay, so this is a National Weather Service broad look at Texas, and let's see if we have a new model running. We do. Not a whole lot's changed. It really doesn't like a lot of snow into North Texas. It really don't. You know, it looks like a couple inches in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Northeast Texas looks like the most. And I'm going to zoom through this quick because I'm about to look at individual graphics here. So I'm not going to jab my jaw off on these large zoomed out graphics. But this is Oklahoma. I'm just looking at this in case I missed some areas. And then this is Arkansas. And then areas of Tennessee and northern Mississippi. Okay, but let's look at some zoomed in graphics. Let's start in Texas first. The latest information from the National Weather Service for the Dallas-Fort Worth area and surrounding communities. I mean, only going for an inch of snow now in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Just north, maybe 2 inches. Sherman, 3. Paris, get up to 4. And a little bit of south, maybe just not a whole lot. So you still got winter storm warnings, and I think what's challenging, it is a challenging forecast for the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Please give your local meteorologists in this area, if you're tuning in from this region, grace, because this is a challenging forecast for this area. Once upon a time, it didn't look to be the case. It looked like a pretty straight shot of snow. But now you're getting mixing issues, and they are calling for some ice, especially southwest of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I mean, a few 100th of an inch of ice, a tenth. Remember, once you start to get over a quarter inch of ice, that's when you start to run into some real issues. But here's the Arklatex area, Texarkana region, which, by the way, is going for 3 to 4 inches of snow in the southwest Arkansas, around 4. Shreveport, only 0.2 of an inch is what they're calling for. Clarksville, 4. Broken Bow, they've dropped the snow totals if you tuned into last night's video. But the further north you get, the more snow you're going to get. It's the common theme just about anywhere, right? But we move back up into Oklahoma City, going for about an inch. Once you get south, down Interstate 35, and I would say east, down Interstate 40, the chances for accumulating snow increase. But we get to the southeast viewing area of this area, and Durant, 3 to 4 inches of snow. Ada, 2 to 3 inches. The Tulsa area going for around an inch, maybe a little bit more in Tulsa. Fort Smith, 3 to 4. Fayetteville, around 3 inches is what they're calling for. McAllister, 3.5 inches. Hugo, 3.5, 4 inches of snow. Not much north of the Interstate 44 corridor or so. We start to move into, say, Missouri. Missouri, Springfield, they're calling, we're everywhere, aren't we? 1 to 3 inches of snow in Springfield. Up Interstate 44 could increase a little bit. Branson, 1 to 4. Joplin, a trace to 2 inches. West Plains, anywhere from 1 to 4. So we definitely got some wider ranges in this region. Not expecting any ice here. Now Arkansas is going to be a heavily impacted state. They have been over the last few winters, and this system will be no different. Hot Springs, 7 inches. Little Rock going for a half a foot right now. Forest City, 4 inches. Mountain View, 4 inches. The entire state of Arkansas looks as of now to get accumulating snow. But it definitely has a hot spot of snow in the yellow area where you get 6 to 8 inches of snow in this region right here. Could be a little bit of ice, but unfortunately they do not have the ice graphic pulled up. I think there'll be some ice in the southern areas right here. And let's see what this is showing. Freezing rain. Oh yeah. A few 100ths of an inch of ice is possible in southern Arkansas, so we had to flip it back to that. And we continue to move forward, and we go down to Jackson, down to the Interstate 20 corridor. No snow is forecast for Jackson, but you get up to Greenwood, maybe as much as 3 inches. Columbus, maybe as much as 3 inches. Meridian, not really going for anything. So definitely not your storm down here in the southern half of Mississippi as of now. But as far as freezing rain, not really even calling for much of that. But I could see maybe a little bit of freezing rain in these areas. And then we start to move up the road a little bit. Memphis could be a hot spot for this storm. Well, a cold spot, I would say. But they're going for around 4 to 5, and I could see even more inches of snow. Look at northern Mississippi. It's wild that northern Mississippi keeps getting hit by winter storms. When you hear Mississippi, you don't think winter weather, but they have been hit hard lately over the last few winters. But, 5-6 inches of snow. Basically, if you live in this yellow area, you're probably going to get over 4 inches of snow. Dyersburg, 4 inches. Up Interstate 40. Jackson, 4 to 5. A lot of snow forecast in these areas. Jonesboro, 4 to 5 inches of snow. Ice, not expecting much. So, yeah, that's an update for that area. Now let's start to move it from my southeast. You think it's complex in the south central U.S.? Well, wait till we talk about the southeast. So, the latest GFS run will start off Friday morning on this instead of Thursday morning to our west. So, this is here in the next 48 hours. Pretty wild. It seems like we've been talking about this storm system for 8 years, but here it is. Snow's beginning to move into Nashville. Snow's starting to move into western Kentucky. Heavy snow's moving into northern Alabama. Wintry mix beginning to move into western Georgia. We take it one more frame. This is around 9 to 10 a.m. Heavy snow coming into Atlanta. Look at the snow starting to move into western South Carolina. The pink is freezing rain. The orange is sleet. Heavy snow starting to move into southwestern Tennessee. Take it one more frame. Snow's moving all the way down to Columbia, South Carolina, and to the Piedmont, North Carolina. Heavier snow starting to now move into the upstate of South Carolina. It's snowing like crazy in northern Georgia, especially the mountains of Georgia. Heavier snow starting to creep into central Tennessee now, the southern Cumberland Plateau. Chattanooga, the snow is starting to come in. This could be your storm, Chattanooga. I am pulling for you. I'm pulling for Atlanta too. I've had a couple comments say, Mitch, you're being negative for us in Tennessee and stuff like that. I'm not being negative. It is just a bummer that it seems like the same areas keep getting winter weather, but there's places like Chattanooga, Atlanta that really have not been hit really good lately, and I'm pulling for you folks. Memphis, you guys have just been getting hit lately. Little Rock just over and over and over again. And I just wish the atmosphere would share a little bit of love for us folks like in the Carolinas and Georgia, but it looks like it is. It looks like it is with this storm. And we continue to move into Friday afternoon. Any kind of snow has a shot to become just a flat out nasty wintry mix in northern Georgia. You might have an issue with mixing even for northern Alabama. Once you get into Tennessee, I really think this will be the mainly snow. That could change. All-out wintry mix moving into South Carolina Friday afternoon. And then we start to move into Friday evening. It's like 6, 7, 8 o'clock. We got an all-out snowstorm up in Nashville. Heavy snow beginning to move into Knoxville, the Tri-Cities region. Moderate snow. This will be very cold up here. Surfaces are cold throughout this entire area. So moderate snow moving to Kentucky. We got a slither of snow moving up into Illinois, all the way up in Indianapolis. Look at the snow starting to move all up into Raleigh, Roanoke. Take it one more frame here. We got some snow moving into Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Richmond. And then the potential for any wintry mix begins to shift to freezing rain and Columbia. Even getting now freezing rain where you start out as snow maybe. In like the upstate of South Carolina, it's all freezing rain in Atlanta. And it does want to try to mix you guys in like Chattanooga after starting off with really heavy snow. I don't know if this was going to happen. We'll have to see. But we continue to move this forward. It's the middle of the night, Friday night to Saturday morning. This is heavy snow up in northern Tennessee, even southeast of Kentucky, heavy snow. This is a thumping of snow up here into southern Virginia. And then we start to get into Saturday morning. And just with the low pressure tracking like this, I really think we're just going to go to all rain in a lot of areas of the Carolinas. Definitely my neck of the woods here in Columbia. I don't see us staying all winter weather. But this does bring a period of moderate to heavy snow all the way up to the D.C., Baltimore area, especially south. So, certain areas around the D.C. area, especially south, picked up over 10 inches of snow. This will be snow falling on top of more snow, which haven't got stuff like that in a while. Now, one thing models are going to struggle to pick up on until we get into short range is this wraparound snow. I think that you have a period of wraparound snow in Tennessee, Kentucky, maybe even northern Alabama, northern Georgia as the storm pulls away. Typically, you guys are favored with this kind of wraparound stuff. So this will add additional snowfall totals into Saturday. I really think it will. Now, let's back this up and let's look at the latest GFS. I'm sorry, the latest Euro. The Euro has been a buzzkill for winter weather fans. It has. It's just been consistently warm. It's been a bit of an outlier. I would say it's different than the rest. But who knows? It could be right. That's the thing. The Euro historically is the king of all models. It really is. It's one of the best models out there. But once it has its struggles. It really does. So here comes the Euro. It's the latest run. It's still bringing an all-out snowstorm into northern Mississippi, bringing heavy snow now into northern Alabama, snow moving into Tennessee. We go one more frame here. Wintry mix into Atlanta, snow in northern Georgia, snow's moving into Chattanooga. And one more frame here. For example, it wants to start out as all rain in central South Carolina when literally every other model has it starting out as a wintry mix in central South Carolina. All snow in the upstate of South Carolina. The Piedmont snow is moving in. Snow's taking over the entire state of Tennessee. And we continue to go here. But one thing I'm already noticing here, is the Euro looks colder. So you can tell now it's wanting to bring some blue closer to, say, Columbia. And you continue, eventually it goes to all rain. But the thing with the Euro is it's just not very juiced up. It doesn't like the idea of heavy snow, it doesn't like the idea of a lot of precipitation to the north. It wants to keep this suppressed, and it wants to keep it warmer, which doesn't make sense to me. If it's suppressed, then to me, it's going to be a colder storm. Just areas to the north will not get as much winter weather. So it's kind of weird to me that it's showing this. And, it brings a wintry mix into eastern North Carolina, especially northeastern North Carolina, and then a little bit of light to moderate snow all the way up into the mid-Atlantic, heck, all the way up into the northeast, and then it's done. But it's very odd to me. For example, I'm going to stop it right here. Let's see how different it is compared to the 06Z. So it's actually not colder. So I lied. And it almost looks like that it's about the same. I would say it's not warmer, it's not colder. It kind of just holds steady. So it's weird. It's weird to me what's going on. It really is. It's a strange thing with the Euro that it is just holding back a lot of moisture, and it could be right. Now, the same thing with the HRRR model, guys. We're not in range of this. The snow is just beginning to move into northern Alabama, and we'll have another long-range run from the HRRR model in about 2 hours, so we'll see what it shows. But we can switch in and look at the latest NAM, the 3KM NAM here, and it goes out about another 12 hours, and here it comes. And it does show that thumping of heavy snow moving into, say, northern Georgia, even Atlanta. Heavy snow taking over Tennessee. And then it looks like it's going to try to bring a burst of snow even as far south as the Midlands of South Carolina. Definitely the upstate of South Carolina. So, once again, I would say that the short-range model guidance is just colder. And, we look at this, and here it is. I mean, this is like the latest other NAM. There's like a few versions of the NAM. And this wants to bring, there it is, that thumping of heavy snow right into Columbia, the upstate of South Carolina, northern Georgia. And the reason I keep mentioning Columbia, guys, is because that's where I live. So I like to throw my area in Columbia a bone here. If you're new to the channel, I start off talking weather in South Carolina. And, yeah, but I mean, even the NAM, the NAM tries to switch it eventually to mostly rain. So the NAM is I think starting to get a better handle on temperatures, that's for sure. Now, I want to show you this. I showed it in last night's video, and it is a fan favorite. And I can see why, and I'm a fan of it too, because I like more winter weather. Okay. All right, that's cool. No. Let me go back to talking about the weather. We'll figure out the ads later. Occasionally I'll get that. But anyways, we'll go back to the weather here. Back to the weather. Daniel Bonds and a lot of other local meteorologists in the Carolinas post this graph model. And I will say that this model did, and I know it only shows South Carolina, so this is only going to be for South Carolina, but it does fantastic for it did really well for Helene. It did very well for a little snow event a few days ago in North Carolina. But this is for my folks in South Carolina. I know that everybody else in all the other states are just like, dude, we don't care about this. But this is for my folks in South Carolina, a little special segment for you guys. So we're going to get into around 9 o'clock Friday, right? Clouds moving into the area. I want you to look at how much colder this run is. So this is getting about midday. Wintry mix moving in as far south as Orangeburg. And then check this out. This is around 2 p.m. Friday. Look at all the heavy snow in the upstate of South Carolina. Look at the snow moving. That whitish blue color, that is snow. I would say it's just a wintry mix of anything in the orange. But we get into 2 p.m. We get into 4 p.m. Starts to mix in Columbia. You know, and it definitely brings a burst of snow for a couple hours into like as far south as Columbia. The thing that baffles me, though, is the graph model, is what you call it. It keeps everything so cold. For example, we go all the way down to the length of this system. Okay, this is, I knew it was going to do that. This is all the way out to the end of the run right here, 2:30. 2:30 in the morning Saturday. And it wants to keep most of this, guys, winter weather. It never really switches it to rain for a lot of areas that all other model guidance is switching it to rain. It's something to watch for. You know, I don't know if that's going to be the way it happens. I've seen the graph model lay a complete egg, but I've also seen it just do wonderful. Now, as far as snowfall totals, see if we have a new one up. We might. Oh, wow. Yeah, big upgrade. I'm glad I did that. So, latest information as far as the National Weather Service, a broad look at things, the entire state of Tennessee accumulating snow, northern Alabama accumulating snow, and we have updated graphics bringing snow into North Carolina, Virginia, the entire state of Kentucky going for accumulating snow. But certainly the jackpot area is the southern Alps region here, you know, northern Alabama, Chattanooga going for over 6 inches of snow. But, you know, National Weather Service is not buying any accumulating snow down to Columbia. Now, say Atlanta, you know, a couple inches of snow. Charlotte, a couple inches of snow. Greenville, Spartanburg, same thing, few. But this is a closer look at the most highest impact area in the southeast. Now, let's look at some National Weather Service forecasts. And I have a feeling some of this stuff is upgrading. So I'm going to have to probably hit the upgrade button on some of this. This is the latest information for Kentucky. Lexington, 2 to 3 inches of snow. Hopkinsville, 4 to 6. Bowling Green, 4 to 6. Well, 4. London, 4 to 6. Jackson, 3 to 4. No ice problems up here. We head on down to Tennessee. Let's see if we have an updated graphic from these guys. Doesn't look like we do. But for now, they're going for around 3 inches of snow in Nashville. I could see you guys getting upwards to 5 to 6. I just think they're underplaying this. And they did it with the storm last year, too. And I just think more snow could fall in this area. Talk about why here at the very end. But this is how much snow they're calling for. I don't expect much ice in this. And then for my folks, I know I got a lot of people tuning in from Eastern Tennessee. Love you guys very much. You guys are always extremely supportive in Eastern Tennessee. And I love this part of the country because I travel to Gatlinburg a lot. But look at my family here in Chattanooga. 4 to 6 inches of snow. Kingston, 4 to 6. Knoxville, 4 to 6. Another heck of a snowstorm. You guys had a big snowstorm in this area last year. Gatlinburg, 4 to 6. Man, I ain't gonna lie. I was tempted to book a cabin in Gatlinburg, but I just really don't want to travel to see the snow. I really want it to fall in my neighborhood. It just hits different. Kingsport, 3 to 4. I could see these areas increasing. And, I mean, yeah. So, as far as ice, you know, some ice could fall, but I actually had to pull this up from my Twitter account. But as far as the National Weather Service out of Huntsville, this includes areas of the Cumberland Plateau. Fayetteville, 4 to 6. Huntsville, 4 to 6. Florence going for a half a foot of snow. Russellville, 6 to 8 inches of snow. Coleman, 4 to 6. Fort Payne, 6 to 8. Stevenson, 6 to 8 inches of snow. Another big winter storm for northern Alabama, except you're not going to have to deal, I don't think, with all the mixing crap that you dealt with the last winter storm last January. I think the majority of this storm is going to be snow. Okay? Now, we start to get down to Birmingham. Could get up to 2 inches of snow in Birmingham. Jasper, maybe 3 to 4. Gadsden, 3 to 4 inches. Anniston, 2 to 3 inches of snow. And Tuscaloosa even going for an inch of snow. And then it's calling for, and honestly, this is a little surprising for me. Like areas of south of Birmingham, they're going for a few tenths of an inch of snow in these areas. And guys, you know, you might not think, hey, that's a lot, but if you get, say, 3/10 of an inch of snow in Montgomery, I know that does not sound like a lot, but that's enough to make just about everything look slightly white outside. So, I mean, it's pretty nice for the South, right? Now, as far as ice, once again, they do not have an ice graphic pulled up for whatever reason. I don't understand that, so we're going to have to go back to, let's go back to this graphic, and then let's look at ice. Well, I guess they're just not calling for ice, which is kind of odd in Alabama. But you're definitely going to get ice and a little bit of freezing rain in Alabama. So we'll see what happens there. But look at the freezing rain, say, in North Georgia, South Carolina, they're calling for. They're going for 2/10 of an inch of freezing rain. And I don't, you know, I'm not going to talk junk about my National Weather Service in Columbia, but I definitely think we're going to get a little bit of freezing rain in Columbia. I just think that we don't have upgraded graphics in this area right now. But let's keep it going. We're getting a little off track here, which happens a lot. And then we start moving to Georgia. Let's see if we have a new graphic in this area. Yeah, we do. Awesome. So I'm glad I updated it. Very glad. Atlanta, 2 inches or less. Gainesville, anywhere from 1 inch. You could get 5 inches of snow. Jasper, 3 to 6. Blairsville, 3 to 7. Dalton, 3 to 7. Rome, 3 to 5 inches of snow. Trenton, 3 to 7. So, hey, nice little event. This isn't a little event. This is a major snowstorm for North Georgia standards. And, you know, certainly some ice in this area. Let's see. Let's look at ice. Yeah, I mean, for example, if you get 1 to 2 inches of snow in Atlanta with almost 1/10 of an inch of ice, that's you're going to get a winter storm. But some areas maybe over 1/10 of an inch of ice, but that's ice totals. And then the Greenville Spartanburg area, let's see if we have any. Nah, it's about the same. So 6/14, that was not too long ago. I mean, but Clemson, I could see you guys getting 3 to 4 inches of snow, 2 to 3, and Greenville, Spartanburg, Gaffney, 2 inches. But look at Southwest North Carolina. I think that this is going to be your storm. Waynesville going for 4 inches, but I think you could get more. I think you could get 6 to 8 inches of snow in Southwest North Carolina. So all the smaller towns, Franklin, Brevard, you guys could definitely get hit. Now, Charlotte, they're only going for around 1 inch. Rock Hill, about 1 inch. I could see more than this falling. Chester by a 1/2 inch. Union. This is starting to get into my neck of the woods. So even though I live down here in Columbia, which I'm not even going to pull up a graphic because they don't have anything on the graphic, it's nice to see snow falling in my home state again. This is your classic winter storm for South Carolina, where it's like getting accumulating snow 1 or 2 counties north of where I live. And it always it stinks. It does. And I know I got a lot of people praying that I see snow, and I appreciate y'all so much. It means the world. But I'm going to take the high road and just say, you know, it's nice to see snow falling in the state again, at least, which is likely going to happen. As far as ice, I mean, they're going for, I would say they're going for some pretty hefty ice totals south and east of the Greenville Spartanburg area, which those areas a few 1/100ths of an inch of ice. But I mean, they're going for 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch of ice from Greenwood, Lawrence, Union, Chester up to Rock Hill. And like I said, the National Weather Service out of Columbia does not really have any graphic pulled up, so we can't really see. But there's also, you know, areas that, and I'm going to try to do this on the fly, guys, because we do have, you're getting to see firsthand how I do this. Let's see. Let's look at Raleigh. Let's see what they're showing for your area. I mean, Raleigh, we have a new updated graphic going for around 2 inches. 1 to 2 inches in the Raleigh-Durham area. Greensboro, 3 inches. Winston-Salem, 3 inches. Mount Airy, 3 inches. Danville, 3 inches. So, yeah, I mean, accumulating snow forecast for a good chunk of the triangle of North Carolina. And, you know, I definitely think you could get ice in these areas. In fact, they're going for a couple 100ths of an inch of ice, just a glaze. And I don't really have any graphics pulled. Of course, you know me. I'm going to do it on the fly because I'm going to try to help you guys out here. But as far as the Richmond area, AKG, let's see. I think I did it wrong. All right, anyways, cool. All right, let's do it one more time. AKQ, I said AKG, so AKQ. Here we go. Check it out. 2 inches of snow in Richmond, 2 inches of snow in Norfolk. So they are Lynchburg, 3 inches of snow, Roanoke, 3 inches of snow, a little bit of snow in southern Maryland. So some accumulating snow is forecast for this area. So I'll wrap it up with this. Let's go back to this. And I'll wrap it up with this, guys, and I'll just kind of talk on this as a broad view. I'll say this, all right? If for you people that, like in Columbia, over to Florence, I live in Columbia. It's a bummer. It is. How it can be so close. But I will say this. And this is speaking on everybody, I'm telling you, 1 to 2 hours of snow is going to make everything white. And y'all can hold me to it, but I'm telling you, for example, if your area is forecast to start off as a burst of snow for an hour or two and then go to a freezing rain mix and then go to rain, that 1 to 2 hours of snow is going to catch people off guard. It's a lot different when you have a couple days ahead of a storm that's warm. It's like above average, like for example, the 60s or 70s or even the 50s. It's another thing when you have several days in a row, like we're getting right now. I mean, it's 23 degrees at my house in Columbia. You're getting several days in a row out of ahead of the start of a winter storm. All the ground is cold. The roads are cold. The soil is cold. All surfaces are cold. So if you get, say, even, and I'm just speaking from like Atlanta to Columbia up to Charlotte, for example, you get 1 to 2 hours of snow and you get this burst of nice snow like Friday. It is going to have no issue sticking whatsoever. And I think it's going to catch people off guard, how quick it accumulates on the roads. It could be one of those things where it actually sticks on the roads before the ground. I think a great example of that was Atlanta 2014. Atlanta only got 1 to 2 inches of snow in that event. But people forget it was snowing at such cold temperatures and how cold it really was before. It's not that the snow will be falling at such cold temperatures. In this case, it's just how cold it's going to be before leading up to the storm. So keep that in mind. I'm telling you, it's going to catch some people off guard. And for my people here in Central South Carolina, speaking on you folks, the thing that we need to pull for is a couple hour burst of snow. If we can get that, it'll make everything white. You heard it here first. If it can be heavy enough, it should make everything white and begin to stick. I'm not talking about 3 inches of snow, but you could get a burst of a half an inch to 1 inch of snow. You just can. Not making that a forecast, but I just wanted to put that out there. I think the ground temperatures and stuff like that need to be talked about a little bit more than what they are by really anybody. So just to break down today's forecast, we're getting a little sneaky events in Kentucky, Tennessee. We're getting some light snow. Heck, some of it's not even showing up on radar. It's accumulating on everything because it's so cold out there. So a little bit of energy shooting down from the northwest with this Arctic air. And so you talk about the southeast today. I think we could continue to get some of this flurry action. You know, it doesn't even show up on the HRRR model. But everybody else, just an Arctic air mass. That's what I'm talking about. It's how cold it is. Now, I will mention it's very dry. So, you know, the kind of offset what I just said with the cold surfaces, it could take some time to saturate the atmosphere. So you might get an hour or two of virga too. It has to moisten up the atmosphere and then it starts snowing. But anyways, today across the southeast, it's dry. There's nothing going on. And then the northeast, some snow will try to whip around from this 50-50 low up here in Atlantic Canada. So we'll get some snow showers up in Maine that'll pivot through. It'll stick on everything. It's very, very cold. So it'll add a few inches of snow on the ground most likely. Then we get to tomorrow morning and then it's done. South Central U.S., one last day before this storm moves in. And then by the time we get into the overnight hours, here comes all the moisture getting and started here. And we got a wintry mix of snow, ice, freezing rain breaking out across central to western Texas as we're waking up tomorrow morning with a little bit of snow up here in Colorado and just the central high plains. So the north central U.S. will continue just to get some lake effect, type stuff. I'm willing to bet some of the Great Lakes up here are starting to get some ice cover over them now. But some lake effect snows will continue across Lake Michigan, Lake Superior. Not a huge event. And then here comes some northern stream energy diving in right here. And then as we're getting into tomorrow morning, we got an area of snow developing across the north central U.S., Minnesota to Dakotas. Out west, pretty quiet outside that energy that's going to shoot through Montana and bring some snow showers all the way into Wyoming. Very cold, going to stick on everything. And then that northern stream energy starts to meet up with that southern stream energy. And then that's when we start to get our big winter storm. Temperatures, cold. I mean, it's cold today. Sub-freezing highs across Tennessee, points north. And even in the deep south, it is just very, very cold. So it's cold ahead of this storm, guys. It's not like you're getting some cold front to move in and then the winter weather. It is very cold out ahead of this storm, and this is out west. So that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. God bless all y'all. And I will try to have a video tonight, but it's going to be later because I have church on Wednesday night. So if I drop a video, it will be later. So God bless all y'all. Have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you again soon.